It's time, guys. I tried to avoid him, but you know what? We finished another round. We're waiting on other people to finish their series. And I look on the brackets, and who's the quickest to reach into the quarterfinals again for day one? Who is the first in there into the round of 16? It's MarineLorD. And guess what? Kasva, he got a DQ victory against Mister, so he's ready to go as well. And that's what we got on the screen for you right now. So subscribe to the channel, hang around, and let's see how this one develops. Because this should be quite the exciting series between these two. Best of three between Kasva and MarineLorD. And we're opening up with high view as we always do. But it is going to be France versus France. So let me just quickly update these scores because we just had the Viper series. I probably could have done that in between. Going to have to get better at doing that, so apologies. MarineLorD versus Kasva. Both of these guys are highly ranked on the leaderboards. At the time of recording, I think Kasva is skirting 2 accounts around the top 100. Yeah, so the current account he's on is at 50th. And then the other one, which he hasn't played on in 26 days, has sunk finally to 203. So I think Kasva might have another Smurf. He's just hiding it. I can't find out which one it is. Because overall, I mean, his main account has 635 games. It might just be that he's balancing AoE 2 still. And that can be good and bad. I think there's like a trap to that where if you hard commit into like the previous Age of Empires, you can keep some bad habits. Some players are better at balance that, and some just kind of need that full switch over. So it'll be interesting to see what Kaboch chooses as time goes on. But speaking of his opponent is full blitzing it. I don't think I've seen MarineLorD playing any StarCraft recently. So fairly committed at this stage. It's actually nice to see someone actually just fully invest. And it's not a small deal, right? Some of these players coming across from StarCraft, you've got the likes of Lenok, who's earned like $250,000. Paul to start playing again, he's earned, I think, $500,000 playing StarCraft. MarineLorD has earned $100,000 playing StarCraft so far in his career. So it's cool to see them embracing it. Hopefully it gets the same amount of love from TOs and also Microsoft as time goes on. And obviously you guys watching the videos. So opening-wise, most important detail to look at high view is anything exploitable with the generation. Sometimes these are incredibly rude to one side or the other. And I have to say MarineLorD has a very juicy generation, actually. I love the flow. So notice that he's got the deer and the berries towards the back. It's a little bit less exposed, and you can go greedy with an Eco Pocket expansion. He's got both of his deer here, in fact. This is absurd. How is this fair? What? So MarineLorD has all of the deer here. He'll probably go scouts anyway, but he wouldn't, like, the point is he doesn't 100% need to. Meanwhile, if you want to engage on the deer, Kasva, his first deer line is sitting right next to a stealth forest. The central stealth forest. He can be ambushed by knights. The second one is right over here, far away from his base in danger zone. He has at least got a berry bush nearby, but MarineLorD got that as well. This is ideal high view spawn versus you got ripped off spawn. I mean, there's some things that could be better for a French player, but overall, the whole way we're drawing this is if MarineLorD actually takes advantage in the mid-game and he gets a number advantage, he's going to exploit pocket economies more efficiently than what Kasva possibly could. And Kasva, even if he gets an edge and starts harassing towards MarineLorD's side of the map, with these fog locations, you can still get ambushed on your eco lines if you do decide to expand out. So Kasva, at least, I will expect to be going into Pro Scouts. It might just be MarineLorD habitually goes into it as well to counter out what his opponent's probably going to do. And considering he already dropped a mill, I would say that's a safe guess. Kasva just yoinking all the sheep, bringing them back to base. School of Cavalry is almost complete for both players. They're more or less matched. Kasva takes a slight edge courtesy of putting a 5th person on the build. But that does mean that MarineLorD is going to have slightly higher resources. In fact, MarineLorD going very early into the wood. And so far, Kasva completely neglects it. Interesting choice. So the importance of this is that Kasva's looking for that first knight straight out, no hesitation, right? MarineLorD, on the other hand, is going for the scout opening. That's what happens with this diversification. When you start putting people on wood in the opening, your intent is to not push a knight out instantly. It does mean that you're going to be slightly on the defensive, but it's actually just a choice play. It means you're going to get your scouts up and your pro scouts out first. And your opponent might have 1 knight coming over, possibly even 2. But it's going to take time to arrive, right? And that's what MarineLorD's playing off of. He's played this type of matchup a lot, I'm sure. In fact, he's blitzed through this tournament so far. Both of his series have opened with him playing the French, and both games ended quite fast. So he understands how to exploit this opening. I think sometimes it was even against other French players. I don't know what Kasva's plan is here. You're not up against Roos, my friend. He's gathered all the wool. MarineLorD's like, oh, thank you very much. No threat. I don't know why he's sniping them. I wish that there was some hilarious aggro play. I would love to see them update wolf behavior. What I would like to see is if another unit gets close to the wolves should change targets. Could you imagine the plays, guys? You drag a wolf towards the enemy's gold line, and then you just move past them and watch the anarchy. I would pay good money for that. If that becomes a DLC feature, it's going to be scummy, but I'll pay it. I'll pay $20 for that because that would just be hilarious to watch and do. So Knight in. Did snipe out one of the villagers, but did die. And scout count is up for MarineLorD over Kasva. And you can see with Pro Scouts already researched, he's going to start gathering his carcasses, going to boost his rate of gathering food. And I don't think we've seen a similar play. No, not at all. Kasva is not gauging it. This is very surprising. Remember, we said that if anything, we would have expected Kasva to do this, to go Pro Scouts, right? Because his food sources are further out on the deer lines. It was possible MarineLorD could have just extended out to it. But instead, he goes for Pro Scouts. And Kasva completely neglects it. And more carcasses being yoinked. I think, yeah, he took one from this side, right? Yeah. He was scouting out what was coming, and he also decided to take a souvenir. And now Knights. More healthy for MarineLorD. Good pull, but Kasva doesn't commit. This is a mistake. He actually got aggroed in. He attack-clicked the ground. He doesn't actually get the cycle charge in. So doesn't get the bonus damage in the initial hit. We'll still be able to run down the villager. No, he gets blocked out. Okay, MarineLorD. Okay, yep, we get it. You're a StarCraft player. You like micro. He actually blocked him with the villager. The knight couldn't get past. He couldn't get that final hit in. And now, MarineLorD is going to optimize this. This injured villager is going to go on food duty, and someone else can go on gold. This is how you do it, guys. You get heavy injuries, you retreat them under the TC, you give them a new task. That's the beauty of Pro Scouts when you're up against a knight spamming civ in the early phase of the game, is you can actually peel off those injuries and make them not matter. I would still like to see textiles taken, but to me, it seems like MarineLorD doesn't want to slow down at all. And all the while, just speeding up on the food front. In fact, when we look at income, yeah, you can see he's almost 100 ahead at the stage. Kasva's upped his wood gains and his gold, but that's mainly because MarineLorD, remember, he pulled people idle. He dragged them off the gold line. So it's just that back and forth, that pivot, that does make a slight difference. It's slowing down MarineLorD a bit, and Kasva needs that because he didn't go into Pro Scouts at all. So he actually has to keep harassing. If at any point he lets up and allows MarineLorD to just gather his goodies, he's going to fall drastically behind the Frenchman here. The Frenchman on French. There we go. Nice, we'll just actually distract. This is the worst case scenario for Kasva. You're not harassing Eco anymore. You're just being dragged around, right? You don't want this. Eventually it's going to lead back to the base, but it means that you're not in MarineLorD's base already. You came back to address this. I even lost one of the knights in the process, actually. MarineLorD is 3 villages down, but I think the gather rate on deer makes that difference up. Maybe just accelerates you a little bit as well. I mean, look at the numbers unharassed. MarineLorD up on the food. Gold is very close. Wood is the only thing Kasva's ahead on, but he needs to make some good use of it. And he's going into the racks. Okay, this has cool ramp-up potential. You can build into the spearman. You can actually rush across. And it means that you'll no longer be able to take fights if you're MarineLorD. MarineLord's going to need to pivot. He needs an archery range soon. By the way, important thing to highlight, we did mention it before the series began. Apparently, the Mongols was one of the civs banned. I don't know if both players banned it, but one of the players at least did ban it in this best of 3 between Kasva and MarineLorD. Keep in mind that because it's banned completely. You ban at the beginning of a series. Anything banned at the beginning of a series, whether it's 1 or 2 civs, is not available for that entire series. And also, once you've picked a civ in the series, you can't pick it again, win or lose. Nice block there. Oh, MarineLorD, he tanks it. Blocks him out entirely, negates the charge, and almost kills off 2 of the red knights here. Kasva in full retreat. And with 1 healthy knight, oh my god, the value. He can just chase them down. Oh, and look at this. Tries to stab around the back again. Garrison comes out. And this is the small details. These choke point controls by MarineLorD is making all the difference. His greed hasn't been punished. And now he's scaling. Look at the numbers right now. Kasva, this is the problem. He had to switch out, right? He had to pocket economy. So now he actually has dents in his food income, as we can see heavily there. The other important detail is if he ever lets up now, if he ever gets forced back to his side of the map, he has these greedy pocket economies that can easily be ran through by knights. It's the risk of playing France. It's what we saw in the early days of France before people switched into Pro Scouts. You have to be tempo controller. If at any point you're not controlling the flow of the game, you instantly lose. It just spirals out of control. And it feels like it kind of already is, to be honest with you. 8 knights compared to the 10. These 10 all looking pretty healthy. Doubling up on the production with a second stable. Spearmen are finally being produced. It took a long time, though. And you have to wonder, has it come too late? The Spearmen are going to be good to at least defend these pocket expansions, right? By the replayer, by Kasva into the food lines. But I'm more concerned with the fact that MarineLorD is still getting so much value on the food lines himself. Snatching away carcasses from his opponent's side of the map now. And these knights, you have to be careful. Now that you're outnumbered, if you get engaged in the fog, you'll lose 1 or 2 before you can react. Unless you are microing them right at that moment, you're clicking them, you're going to lose 1 or 2. In fact, look at this. Cycling in, outpost is going to be garrisoned. And that'll be a back away. MarineLorD doesn't want to contest that yet. He wants to win in the field. He needs to know where the knights are. And he's about to get the bad news. This cycle in. Onto the wood line could be big. MarineLorD trying to back off. Needs to get in here quickly, though. Charge in. Gets 1 and 2. Oh my god, he might get the 3rd. He switches, though. He'll finally get him. Stabs another one down. Knights will arrive back here. TC's going to help, but that's a big loss now. MarineLorD 6 behind Kasva on the eco count. He needs to start doing some damage back here. There's only so long this justification of Deers gather quicker works out. However, this wrap could be big. Can he catch him? He just about connects. Gets another one of the Knights. Now he has the numbers. He could push in, but the spears are a problem now for MarineLorD. Look how blind you are with these Knights. Meanwhile, I believe MarineLorD, yeah, he's still running scouts here. So he sees everything, right? He gets the heads up. Look at the difference on vision when you're in the forest. Look how much more that is. That's like, what, 4 times the vision? Yeah, let's say 4 times. I'm being a bit generous to Kasva there. Knights moving in, sees plenty of spears, has to back off. He needs that archer switch soon. And again, in with the raids, Kasva. He's getting so much value out of this. MarineLorD, you either need a second TC or you need to get some archers. You can't keep being buffered out like this. And this is the thing. On the defensive, Kasva with the high view, with the high ground view, is just able to follow you around like this, right? Because you have to wrap so much wider. Charge in. Nice. This is what we needed. This is the split I was waiting for. MarineLorD, he's splitting it up, but he's being harassed on 2 fronts as well. So he needs to get equal value here. Baits him in. Looks to stab out a few of the villies. And they will look to garrison in. Loses 2 of them. Needs to move across here. Needs to go left right now. Because he's being harassed still. MarineLorD down to 36. 44 now for Kasva. Kasva still getting better trades. Knights still harassing. Oh, another. Whoa, okay. Doesn't quite get that villager, but another one came out. Snipes out even more. What on earth happened there? Meanwhile, movement in. Tries to snipe another villager. Kasva is getting good bang for buck here. And MarineLorD's just straight up getting banged. And this is the annoying part. You're dragging the entire Knight line back every time. Because you're being forced to respond. These trades aren't working out. You just need an in and done. The problem is now Kasva, because enough time has passed, he's got surplus economy building. Notice he's starting to just trickle in these spearmen in different places, right? A few over here into the food lines. 1 or 2 always guarding at the back of the wood, and the other one's pivoting across the farmlands now. So he's actually getting that defensive force in location. He's starting to bounce back. And although you still have the advantage of Deer for the time being, make no mistake, with the current way this is flowing and the trades back and forth, MarineLorD is on the clock. That's why he wants to be in again. Kasva's not going to see this until it's too late, though. Charge in. Good hit. 2 villagers down. Might get a 3rd for his trouble as well. Still 50 health on the villies as well. Neither of them bothered to upgrade. Engagement on the side is going to get rid of the Knights. He wraps him. Kasva, the double-pronged attack. MarineLorD, he strikes at the economy. He drags Kasva's attention there. And then when he's not looking at his Knights, with the superior vision of the scouts, he's able to move in and peel that off. That's 1 group of Knights now gone from Kasva. But Kasva, look at this move. No counter unit, still no archery range. Finally building into it, but is it too late out of MarineLorD? Knights are going to engage, quickly stab down. Is going to back off. They can't dive. The spearman could be targeted by the TC. And now archers are coming out. Meanwhile, in the base of Kasva, he might run into trouble, but it looks like MarineLorD is choosing to defend instead. He doesn't go for the juggler of his opponent. He just looks to block the strike at his own. Billy's backing off again. Kasva now building big surpluses of gold. Archers are starting to be produced here. This needed to happen a bit sooner, though. It's what we talked about. This was eventually going to be the case. Kasva was eventually going to make this swing. And so far, it's not really a miss. He raises the outpost. He keeps you off the gold line. He forces an engagement. All the Knights moving in. There are a lot here as well. It's Hardened Spearman versus these Knights. You do get that bonus damage, but in this quantity, I think you have the edge as MarineLorD. It's a heavy cost with the amount of gold invested in this and the amount that are going to be slayed, but you should be able to get rid of most of, if not the entire army of Kasva. And you will have remaining forces. There it is. All the spears down. Cycle out the last few. Forces a retreat away. An outpost crew has begun for Kasva, but MarineLorD finally able to offset that aggression coming his way. Will be able to resume on the gold line. And look at the numbers now. He has enough for the tech up. He beat him to the punch. That's why he snuck some people out in the gold vein. He was done producing Knights, and now he's moving up in the world. Meanwhile, Kasva, he's moving across in the world. He's not really looking to rise through the ranks. He's chilling in the feudal age, okay? He's like, things weren't so bad here. You got the crap in the streets. No one judged you. Real estate cost next to nothing. And food, oh, well, it was all natural. There was no processed meat. Meanwhile, MarineLorD is like, I would like to crap in my house and throw it into the streets, please. Viva la Renaissance soon. But first, Castle Age must be reached. That is a lot of Knights remaining. A lot of spears as well. Nice, the line formation, Kasva. So underutilized by a lot of players, but this is really good. It allows you to actually block your opponent a lot easier. And everyone's going to engage equally. You can also get the brace for maximum impact to just block out all the charges as well. And MarineLorD is doing it again. Splits up the forces. Textiles has finally been taken by Kasva. A smart choice considering his Knights are outmassed now. However, he's about to be out-qualitied at this rate as well. So that tech up's going to bell, and then Kasva has to do something quick. Remember, he doubled down on feudal. He didn't tech up. He didn't give himself room. So if you allow vet roll Knights to come out, they are going to just run your Hardened Spearmen through. Speaking of things to run through, straight onto the villagers, gets 1 or 2. Spearmen are outnumbered here. He got baited to the back of the base. Look at this. He dragged all of his troops back, and now the wraparound, MarineLorD. He's in. Jackpot. He can hear the slots ringing. Kasva now evened up with MarineLorD, but MarineLorD a whole tech ahead of the player in red. And he'll back away. Lose 1 or 2 Knights on the exit, but now you'll be able to tech them up into vet status, and they are going to be magnificent. Knights did... Wait, what? Whoa, oh, MarineLorD. No, that's a big mistake. An unusual mistake out of this lad as well. Getting caught off guard, failing to micro his Knights away. He loses several extras on the left flank. And that's because he's blind, remember. When he's running through, look at the vision. He didn't see it at all. He was playing under the outpost vision, which is where Kasva made him good play, right? He started to get this outpost network down a while ago, and it's giving him a lot of vision over the central area of the map. So he's able to anticipate these moves beforehand, and a mistake that MarineLorD made is he slowed down the production of scouts. He didn't produce any new ones. So he's blind when he's playing into this, and he needs to get rid of these quick. Archer count is not that great against this many spearmen. Remember, these are vet royal Knights now. They're going to charge in. He's going to be baited in, has to back away. Knights are through, but if they ever stop for a moment, they are going to get giant lances shoved right up their behinds. Knights to engage, need to be careful, pulling back further. Oh, the villagers! The villagers! MarineLorD going to back them away. That was getting scary. These spearmen, although they don't hit hard in that quantity, would have stabbed a lot of your eco count down. Backs away again. Cycles in with 1 or 2 Knights, trying to stab in, but there's plenty of spearmen here. And Kasva is just stuck shoveling crap at this stage in this game. He has no way out of up to castle, right? He's stuck in feudal for an eternity. In fact, MarineLorD, he's playing game times, right? We tech up, we evolve by 100 or 200 years every 10 minutes. Kasva is playing roleplay here. He's like, well, you know, the feudal actually lasted quite a while. It wasn't over in 10 or 20 minutes, guys. It was quite a few years. So I'm going to be hanging around here for the rest of the game. And let me know how that goes. And he really has no way of slowing this down now. He's counted out as well. His only choice is maybe a transition into archers. But then you're dipping your toes in 3 different pools, right? You're never actually going in for a full swim. And that can leave you very fragile to just the overwhelming might of the superior veteran Knights. Don't know why they're whispering. There's nothing secret about what they're about to do. Baits him in. Archers are here. Still not upgraded, by the way. MarineLorD, he should be upgrading these now. It's worthwhile at this stage. He reveals his archer line. Does engage on the Knights. Trying to block them out from chasing. Has to keep backing up. Melee in. Not getting that charge boost, though, right? You get extra damage when you actually charge. Not only from the initial lance, but the buff damage afterwards. He needs to slow this down as the archers are peeling off these spearmen more and more. As he backs up, back into the blind spots here. But enough archers that he's starting to snipe down the knights as well. And once the knights are gone, he doesn't have to sacrifice royal knights anymore. He can just snipe out all the spears. So, once again, backing off. MarineLorD, what is the food count? Ooh, he's drained. He needs to find new supplies. He moved out into the berry bush lines. And now these knights wrapping around. Kasva, he hasn't been aggressive for so long that MarineLorD hasn't really efficiently guarded these locations. So straggler peasants being picked off here. And a 5-point advantage again for Kasva. Archer count. There's no knights left. One knight, and now you're in trouble. Kasva, he has to retreat, and he's going to lose the whole spear battalion. They split. They try to turn. Vision sucks on both sides right now in this fight. But it's enough that MarineLorD is able to push through, and the spear count is depleted to 0. Really well played by MarineLorD. This is what he needed. He sacrifices so much, but the castle age has now been reached. Kasva was not helpless. But Kasva now needs to recover. And look at this. Cannon saddles already coming out, looking to get that extra bonus damage after the charge. Did we see similar? Yes, it was researched by MarineLorD in the end. There is a recovery point here, but there is a lot of exposed economy as well for Kasva, and it's all predictably next to his base. So, we'll raise the outpost, trying to limit the vision play that remains for Kasva. And Kasva is very boxed in. He needs to replenish his army. He's also switching where his economy is at. And what? What are the villagers doing back here? Oh my god, they got paid to repair it as well. MarineLorD. I don't know if that was intentional attacking the outpost, but he blocked 1 or 2 from garrisoning. Snipes out 1 or 2 additional. They're even again on the eco count. And a lot of people working over here risky on the gold. MarineLorD, he needs to rebuild the knight line. Trying to get them out. I would absolutely love to see a play into Arbalatriers here by one or other player. Like, think about it. Both sides are playing knights still. Arbalatriers shred knights. And they don't get kited like Spearmen do. And this might be the time. Look at this, Kasva. Trip archery range drop. I think he is planning to play into Arbalatriers. And this, if it is not revealed early by MarineLorD, could completely scuff his attempt at an assault. Speaking of assaults, in with the one lad, 38 damage. Even with the textiles, this hurts. Although MarineLorD, whoopsie, doesn't get the charge off. So many times this mistake is being made. Outpost is going to be complete. Should be able to garrison his lads. Oh, loses 1 though. And there's not enough room to protect all these people here. So MarineLorD should get a second Billy out of this before dying. Nope, he didn't commit. He's still going to die on the night anyway. So I'm looking for that transition we were talking about. And with all these archery ranges down, Kasva does make the play. He's going into the Arbalatriers. And it's going to be hidden because he has an army again. He can push into the center. And if he holds that vision game, it means MarineLorD's going to be playing blind into a counter. Arbalatriers are actually decent as well against the archers, remember? Because they get that 5 range resistance when they deploy the Pavis, right? The only condition is you have to deploy it and hold. But the value, it means you can deploy the Pavis and target the knight. Something that a lot of players haven't been doing. I'm actually looking forward to seeing if it gets utilized this time. Oh my god, the knights. Villagers are found. A few more chased down. Spear moving across to try and help. But look at the count right now for MarineLorD. He's going to move in. And he has some Arbalatriers already. Going to force him away. Vet Royal Knight at 3 health, almost down. He's going to move in. Needs to be careful with the outposts. But look at the exposed economy here. It's not that well protected. Nightline will engage. Spearmen need to be dealt with. And now look, man-at-arms coming out, but the Arbalatriers have already started to be built for MarineLorD. And that means you're not very tanky with your front line. You can see how quickly he's starting to lose them. The archer count advantage from MarineLorD is still there from the last fight. And it's starting to hurt. Starting to sting. And a few knights sneaking in as well, looking for targets in the meantime. They moved across the new wood line. Arbalatriers trying to rack up, but in the meantime, still counted out by the archers. And these archers, with their current count and vet status, they're doing a lot of damage to the Royal Knights before they can find value themselves. MarineLorD keeps backing up, though. Into the fog. Could re-engage with his 2 knights. Instead, he'll just look to peel 1 or 2 off as they retreat away. And there it is. He blocks him. Gonna get another. And these Arbalatriers are going to be cleaned up. They're not cheap as well, remember. Arbalatriers, 80 food, 40 gold compared to the 30 food, 50 would cost these archers. And that's the value. You need a composite at this stage, right? If you are playing as Kasva, you need to push out a few archers, but he doesn't want to pay for the upgrade as well. He just wants Arbalatriers, which means if you want to do this, you do need to have enough knights ready. He just doesn't seem to. And that means that actually instead, now MarineLorD is ahead. With his Arbalatriers pushing out in quantity and still a lot of archers to support, this is padding his transition, right? It's giving him the efficient trades in the initial bouts, and it's going to put him ahead when you come out the other side, and both sides have only crossbows and no archers. March in. TC being built. I like this play by Kasva. He's behind. He needs a transition. It's not a military transition. It's not necessarily seen as a, like, countering you transition. But if you scale your economy at this stage, you can afford to push more units. And look at the dent that Kasva now has, right? MarineLorD, he's scaled past him now. He's switched over to farms. He's protected. He's never harassed. And he now has a 10-point advantage in the Villi count. So Kasva trying to stem the bleeding now. The one good piece of news for Kasva fans is his whole economy is condensed on the southern side of his base. There's not really much utilization on the north. The reason this is good news is it means his static force of arbaletiers, man-at-arms, and spears are usually able to respond. But will they be able to respond to this quantity of troops and this quantity of troops being supported by rams? This could actually break Kasva. If these rams snipe out the TC, the freshly built TC, this could shut Kasva down entirely. This is a big investment by him right now. Here we go. MarineLorD easily able to afford this while keeping up production of units as well. And he's ramping up the knight production again. More stables being dropped because he can support it, because he has the right count. Rams moving in. It's going to force a fight, and this is the problem. Kasva, he didn't invest in more melee troops. It's mainly just the arbaletiers here. So you don't even defend well against this. This is about to look pretty pathetic. Oh no, the tickles, not the tickles. Knights will just kite away from you as well. Archers hang out on the side. The ram is almost through the TC. Remember, these TCs are not that tanky, 2,400 health. The villagers can't really keep it repaired quick enough either. Outpost now being dragged down into hell. Also, the whole while, keep in mind that there's been a chapel collecting relics, and it is only MarineLorD doing this, so his economy is continuing to boom up. And with that TC gone, Kasva is in dire straits. He needed melee units, and he gets punished for not having them. And he couldn't rely on the villagers, even with the textiles, because he never addressed this. The clump of archers. He never went to mangonels because he couldn't due to the knights. Every step of the way, Kasva is behind MarineLorD. And he's going to be behind him on the count as well. This would hurt if the... Oh my god, if the Gambusons aren't done in time. That melee armor would have been valuable up against the Knights. He doesn't even get it though. He loses the archery range, and now the outpost is going to be burnt down as well. And MarineLorD, he's moving into the central economy here. This is where all your food's being gathered. He tries to back it up on the back, right? Behind him, trying to get new farmlands down. So he's protected for the moment. But what about the TC? What about the military district? You're losing the arbaletier production line. That's what's going to allow you to get back in this game right now. And it's soon going to be gone. So round will get through another. Knight cycling from the north side as well. Look at him pinching. Oh my god, no, what the? No, the villagers! Kasva's distracted right now. He's getting alerts about the front of his base. He doesn't notice this. He's pulling them back now, but look how many villagers are dying. Oh my god, Kasva. It's over a 20 eco lead now for MarineLorD. This is becoming insurmountable. Kasva is running out of place to hide, and he doesn't have the economy to recover. He drops a defensive keep behind his TC. But what are you defending? Barely anything. Everything important is ahead of this. You've got your economy, but what about your military buildings? What about your TC? The rams are still not addressed. And instead, the arbaletiers try and focus fire onto the archers. These archers still outnumber them, though. And the Pavises, were they used? No. He hasn't used them just yet, and he got pulled out of the base. He's going to be turned on now. Nice charge in. They try to retreat, but remember, these arbaletiers are slower than the archers. So the archers will chase you down. The best move he had was to deploy Pavises. He failed to do that, and without the Gambusons being researched, he can't stand up against these knights, even though he's meant to counter them. And the rams resume what they've done once again. Straight in onto the TC, ramming it down. Meanwhile, the raids from the knights on the west side, MarineLorD looks like he may have actually cracked the code and broke the base. And Kasva is going to be displaced from high view very soon. Even has the sacred sites to just rub salt into the wound. MarineLorD's done it. What a way to play this as well. Just actually the play into Pro Scout, setting up really nicely here. Peeling Kasva off as well, understanding that the spears buy him time, but they don't give him scalability. Kasva is always paranoid. He's never able to consistently keep vision, and it forces him to keep investing in static army units. It means that MarineLorD is able to outscale him economically without being harassed too hard, and he's able to equally trade on those pockets of harassment, and then also give himself the room to gut the castle, which gives him game one. But this is a best of three, folks. This is only game one, and it's already delivering. All right, I know what you're thinking. Oh, France versus France, Mongols versus Mongols, Rus versus Rus. It's all boring, mirror matchups. But no, this one delivered. And maybe it's because Highview spices things up a little bit, or maybe it's just the factor of two players playing that little bit different. One trying to pivot into feudal, one going up the castle that gave us that beautiful gameplay. But all I know is this is just the first of what I'm expecting to be a hype series. Kasva is not out of this. MarineLorD is definitely looking to keep up his record of always being first to finish the rounds. And he's off to a good start by winning game 1. But we need at least one more game here to see if he can keep that record up, or if Kasva is going to stick a stick in his spoke. Nah, I'm getting too technical now. In the wheelie thingy and trip him up. You know the meme. Welcome back to the series. It is more of the Win It Series 2 action, hosted by EGC. Shout out to them for doing this. $2,000 on the line. We saw game 1 between MarineLorD and Kasva. Swing the way MarineLorD in that mirror matchup. We're done with that. That's boring. You want to see something versus something else. A bear versus a tiger. Not quite true. It's more like a bulldog versus a panda? I guess that's like the animals that come to mind. Why does my country have bulldog as our animal that comes to mind? Come on, man. Can we have something epic and cool like honey badgers? Maybe one day. But no, we are going to have a different spin in game number 2. We're not going to actually end up seeing the mirror matchup. We are going to end up seeing Dry Arabia again. We see it so often in these tournaments. But it is going to be England versus China. And this was surprising to me to a certain extent. I know Kasva does like to play England. He's whipped it out several times before. England, not his PP. And he does like to try and go in for that kind of high-tempo rush style. It kind of fits with the way he was trying to play that first game, although that's more forced by the France-on-France nature of the matchup. I'm interested to see how he's going to try and apply pressure here, because MarineLorD is quite a solid China player. I haven't seen him play much China recently. Maybe like 1 or 2 games in the last week or 2. But before that, I've been very impressed by what I've seen. MarineLorD is definitely like top 5 at China. He seems to be top 5 at most things. Everyone expects you to be a Viper fanboy, but when you get down to it, this kid is the one that's really been impressing me the more and more I've watched him. He just has these finite timings. His micro is really on point. He's really good at stretching your attention and distracting you and eking out those slight advantages. So intrigued to see what he's going to do in a matchup where you might come under initial pressure. Keep in mind that the Chinese can defend themselves quite well against England. The thing that we're looking for here is what Kasva's solution is going to be against Yugnu. Because Yugnu, if they come out, are going to end your game. So, for me, I want to see Kasva invest in a small contingent in Longbowman, and then he's looking for a win condition in Castle. I think if you wait too long in Feudal, you basically lose this game. MarineLorD can hang around in Feudal with you, and he can counter everything you do. Keep in mind that the Zhignu are as slow as the Longbow, but once they get in range, you're done. And also, keep in mind, in Feudal, it's not uncommon to see Chinese players drop a stable, because, of course, you want to get access to pro scouts. You're one of the best civs at doing it. You're top 3. And you're up against a civ that doesn't do it. England never goes pro scouts. So you know that if you actually invest in it, you're going to get your bang for buck, right? Out of the scouts, out of the pro scouts research. Because you won't only get your own deer, you're almost guaranteed to get your opponents as well. And they're ones that Kasva is unlikely to go for. Maybe this deer stack at the back, still a little bit risky for him though. This deer stack, however, he's never going to eco expansion out towards. So it's basically just 3 deer. Well, it's 7 deer to be specific. I'm sorry, the dad puns just keep slipping through. You can tell I'm going to be a father soon. So, Imperial official just oversee production early on. Remember, that's one of the beautiful things about China's early game economy. You pay 150 food for this lad, but not only can he actually tax you people, which, I don't know if you'd be happy as the Chinese peasant having that happen, but somehow he makes more food and wood and everything else come out of the same source. He basically fabricates goods out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure that what's happening here, if we break it down, an Imperial official is actually a magician, and the tax is people paying for their tickets to his show. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because somehow these people manage to find more food, more wood out of these finite resources. It's actually a cool detail to highlight, is certain civs have this exploitive nature, right? Rus have it with wood, for example. China has it with anything they supervise, where you're taking a 250 food source in the sheep, and you're turning it into a 300 food source, right? It's actually crazy when you think about that. It means China has a more condensed, and like they can keep their economy condensed, and it's more efficient for longer because they don't have to move out as quickly as England does or France do, right? Where they have to go out for these pocket expansions, they draw up quicker. So take a gold vein here, right? Like we've seen the way that Mongols exploit this with their step readout later in the game, but China does it even sooner. It's a lesser gain. It's not 50%, but 20% at the beginning of the game, it means that this gold vein is lasting a lot longer. It's several nights extra before you have to move out to somewhere more dangerous. So build's underway. Kasva is about done with the Council Hall. Barbing the Sun to match the timing. Nice positioning from MarineLorD as well. Protects both of the wood lines he can engage with. Needs to be careful on the north side. Could be exploited. Notice that he doesn't prioritize the gold veins, because if you do come under fire and you are incredibly pushed in, one fallback plan you do have as the Chinese is taxing. Right? It's not the end of the world if you lose your gold veins. Some civs are dead on arrival once they lose gold vein. Right? It's why Mongols, there's certain matchups that you just feel pure pain. Like, England doesn't necessarily enjoy dealing with Mongols because once they start getting an outpost network down, although you can go into your early man-at-arms or vanguard man-at-arms, you're still going to experience a lot of pressure before that phase. And there we go. That's what we're talking about. Stable and the archery range, so doubles up on it. Pretty greedy, but able to get away with it because he was supervising this building for a bit, so had surplus wood coming in. And it means that now he's going to be able to get a few initial horsemen out. That'll just put a dent in Kasva's starter plans. And with the archers here as well, he's already prepped for what comes next. It's almost like MarineLorD's Psychic. A lot of players wouldn't have dropped the archer range straight away. A lot of players would have just done the stable and waited until they first saw the spearmen. But MarineLorD, I don't even think he necessarily had eyeballs on that. It could have been that he had the scout in base and we just didn't quite notice it. He is incredibly good at maintaining vision. It's how you can tell, I think, StarCraft players apart as well. StarCraft, it's been embedded into them for years, right? They literally send their workers early game across to scout out what their opponents are doing to get a read on what's coming next so they can transition and prep. And that's something that I think I've seen a lot of Age of Empires players still need to learn from these legends, right? From these very talented players, is scouting wins games. You're able to pivot before your opponent arrives. So not only has he already invested the wood to build the building, but by the time he arrives in your base, you've equaled out the number of troops he has with its counter, and it means that he's just wasted his investment completely. Here we go. Archers on the side. Horsemen chasing in. Spearman moving across now. Lombo's trying to trade out. Needs to be careful. That additional range could actually hit him where it hurts. And we'll back off. There we go. That was the power we said about, right? Now you move to another wood line. Barbing the Sun protects the center. And now if you want to do some damage as a Kasva rather, you have to rab all the way around the north or all the way around the south to reach the wood line and the economy again. And that's the type of detail that MarineLorD's thought ahead of time, right? He's experienced this before. A lot of players would have made the mistake of sticking this Barbing the Sun to the north, and then your entire southern economy is exposed. You don't have access to wood. And wood is the most important detail after food, right? Food obviously takes the truest of forms, the top forms for any unit trying to produce. But wood matters for this composition, right? Because you only want archers and horsemen for now. And he's looking to upgrade those units right now with the blacksmith drop. No intent to go into Zhugnu just yet. Kind of surprising. Zhugnu could just still counter out everything he's up against. MarineLorD right now doesn't feel like he's going to have regular access to his gold line, though. So he doesn't want to splash on something that's going to be too pricey. It is only 30 gold per unit. I say only, but think about it. 10 units, that's 300 gold already. And although taxation is keeping you afloat for the moment, it's not a long-term plan. Kasva, how are we looking right now? He's not really leaving room for scalability, and he's not building a blacksmith either. I'm not the biggest fan of the way Kasva's starting to play this. He's been delayed again. I love this palisade. Just makes it a longer walk, right? You mirror his movement, and then he has to run all the way back around. There you go. Wood line, going to back off. Scout tries to give vision. You don't want to lose that scout either, and it's dead. That hurts. Losing the vision means you can't reach over the trees and snipe out these villies now. Horseman baited in. Spearman baited in as well, though. Archer's trying to trade it out. After these spearmen are gone, you're in trouble with the longbows, and these longbows are more expensive than each individual archer. And the count is in favor of MarineLorD. So he stabs in. This bonus damage that they get up against the archers coming into effect. Spearman all but gone. Horseman still standing, still getting that bang for buck, and it means that MarineLorD is going to win this first fight. You see one or two longbows trying to sneak in, but it's just no point. Kasva's going to have to regroup and rethink. And this is bad right now for Kasva. He didn't half invest in this. He fully invested. Look at his numbers. He's not scaling. It means that MarineLorD isn't losing by taking these fights, right? The worst case scenario for MarineLorD is if Kasva forces MarineLorD to double down on a unit count and then he keeps his stalemate. Because what that means is Kasva can then boost up into Castle, and Castle is a big deal for England. You need it as a recovery point to scale your economy, because remember, one of the choices you can make when taking up into Castle is the King's Palace. The King's Palace being a town center. So you pay 1,200 food, 600 gold, you unlock your castle, and you get a town center for your troubles. But at this rate, MarineLorD definitely looking better. He has options now. Song Dynasty could be good into Jugnu because you know your opponent isn't scaling the castle quickly, so you could look for the value there. You could also just try and rush castle yourself. Palace Guard basically destroys everything that Kasva does. I feel like I toot the Palace Guard horn a lot, but it really is one of the best units in the game. I think a lot of people still sleep on it or forget how useful it is. It's not a man-at-arms. It's not just been given a fancy different name for no reason. Palace Guard move a phenomenal amount quicker than normally man-at-arms, while having barely any downside compared to the man-at-arms, right? The exception being certain buffs. For example, England gets one with the armor, as you can see on the man-at-arms, increasing it by 2, which is quite nice. The armor-clad, 1 detail to keep in mind, though, is you're still incredibly slow. Then there's Home Blades for Delhi, but we don't mention Home Blades. Home Blades doesn't exist anymore, guys. It's like saying that, you know, when you think about doing your shopping, that shop that is 50 minutes out of town exists. It's true. It exists, but you're never going to it. It's too far away. You'd rather just have your local Asda, your Walmart, or whatever that's the 5-minute drive away. And that's how Home Blades feels. So, you know, Ironclad, not on the same level as that. It means that you're really limited in how you actually specialize your man-at-arms, unless you're the HRE right now in the meta. Certain civs get a lot of value out of man-at-arms, namely the Abbasids and the Mongols, because they can build out in the field, and Mongols also get the movement speed. But yeah, England is just... the sadness. I think England is strong in certain situations, certain matchups, but it requires exploitative maps, and I think its transitions are too predictable. And it's where I've seen so many England players fall flat, is they don't really have a gotcha trick. Everything that you're going to do is readable before you see it, right? So MarineLorD, although he may have been scouting and getting vision occasionally, he didn't really need it. He already knew what was going to happen. It's going to be Longbowmen, then it's going to be Spearmen, and then if his opponent does find the gold and food to somehow get up to castle at this rate, it's going to be Knights. Maybe Man-at-Arms. I just don't think you want Man-at-Arms against Palace Guard, though, and Nest of Bees. And this is the play. Kasva kind of reaching that all-in phase. Dropping the outpost, he might get away with this. The scouts do see him. He's immobilizing. He's going to get rid of this. This hurts. Kasva, maybe a little bit greedy. Should have tried it the other side of the tree line. That would have been hidden. But now there's going to be a forced fight here. A fight that you're not going to actually fare well in. You don't have the outpost. If the outpost went up, it's different. But now, if you look at the count, there's more archers here than there are longbowmen, and these horsemen are the golden nugget. And Kasva, oh my god, Kasva, what? This is so dangerous. MarineLorD doesn't know it, but the longbows are out of position. The spearmen are nowhere near to defend. He could have turned that, and he would have killed basically almost half the longbows before the spearmen arrived. Here we go. Charge in, gets rid of the scout, moves in, splits up, finds the stragglers as well. He's in. Spearman, they try to brace here instead of engaging. And now the archer can trade it out and around the stone outcropping MarineLorD. He's a master of this. He drags him around, he gets some value out of it, and now he has the numbers to run him through, and there's no way that Kasva can retreat. The horsemen will find their bang for buck. The spearmen are gone, and once again, Kasva turns up with not enough troops to see through what he starts. And the numbers are scaling. This time after this fight, MarineLorD even more troops remaining. The investments are starting to hurt. Kasva in full retreat again. And MarineLorD, look, he's scaling now. Kasva is at least switching over into farmlands. But this isn't good enough. You're going to be beaten by a solid minute at this rate into castle. And it scales from there. And the important detail in that fight is how MarineLorD baited his opponent. He pushed him back towards the stone outcropping and then utilized mobility to his advantage. So many players don't do this, but we've seen it now twice in this series. MarineLorD, remember, in the early game when he was being harassed as France, he blocked at these choke points. He baited his opponent in between the mining camp and the outcropping, or the gold vein in that case, and then he used an inferior number of knights to hold his opponent back. This time, he used the mobility of these horsemen to run around the other side, drags these spearmen away at that stage, and then finds a few pokes and prods as they get baited in the wrong direction, being such a slower unit. And that now gives him the edge to push in here. And Kasva, he didn't want to be in this situation. He didn't build an outpost. He didn't expect to be in his base like this. He at least gets the attack speed now, but the longbows are so depleted that they don't really have the numbers to contest against the archers. And he's not even farming anymore. More villagers are going to be lost. Retreat away. Remember, you don't move quick enough to pursue the longbows. And MarineLorD still has 21 archers, and he might turn around again. Kasva backing away, and the villagers can't resume. It's hurting. It's stinging. And these trades, every time, like, what, 1, 2 archers and then loses 3 longbows? These longbows that cost more? These longbows that have attack speed buffs? This is not good. Tech up's now there. Kasva, this game is getting very dangerous. It looks like there's been investments in other things first, but MarineLorD, make no mistake, he is going to be soaring into the sky in a few seconds. Gold about to be collected. No wheelbarrow tech. Maybe is an element you could optimize. I want to see him get it after castle's achieved. And never able to get this outpost up. Look how much he wants to invest in it. Yeah, so he has to just fall back. He can't. He's lost so much here as well. This is 50 plus. How many we got here? We're talking 8 farms, usually at 75 beasts. So, oh god, maths is hard. 600 wood. So it's about 600, 650 wood, I think, in total. About that, because it's 37 wood instead of 75. 650 wood spent on this, and he can't use it. And it looks like MarineLorD is going to back up. He respects the counter longbowman now. But had he stuck on this, had he prevented this farmland from being used, Kasva's game loses all scalability. Even with his back farms, he's so far behind at this stage. MarineLorD, meanwhile, continue to scale and continue to dodge the need to switch over to farms as he drags in more carcasses. Those carcasses we said would be ignored. And look at this. He has vision. He understands that he can get these later on as well. Kasva never came for these. He done the predictable England thing. Instead of playing into the deer, he already switched over to farms. So this is just free economy for MarineLorD to come pick up, and he'll get additional value over what he should have out of the pro scouts. And now tech up complete. Probably just Lancers. Lancers and Archers, and you can end this game. Rams are already being built. Quality units can come out. Maybe even Palace Guard, but with this many stables, yeah, I think he's just going to run him through with Knights. There it is. Lancers get queued up. Bang Rams have been built. MarineLorD probably waits for about 3, maybe 4 the Knights, and then looks to ride in. Doesn't want to give the breathing room. Kasva is in Eco Rush now. He sees the tech up. He can't afford to stay around anymore. He needs to get it together. His hopes is that MarineLorD is not superior enough that he pushes in time. There we go. Horseman looking to scout out on the side. Kasva moving out to contest it. Remember, he has that superior vision with the outpost. Just one hope. But look at what MarineLorD's doing! He goes south. He hasn't done this yet. The outpost would have given you the heads up, but by the time you see the Rams, he's already going to be in position. And these Rams will do God's work. You still don't have melee units to deal with this. You don't want to sacrifice the villagers either. Rams are moving in. Lancers are on the way as well. He hasn't revealed those yet. And straight onto the outpost. I like this priority. Remember, the attack speed buff. He doesn't want to let him have it. And the white tower, he forces him into the defensive landmark. And it is badly positioned. He had to go behind his base. It means everything on the front is still exposed. He'll lose a lot at the front of his base to just try and protect 2 farmlands. This is bad. This is getting dire for Kasva. Rams in. Looks onto the racks. Easy pickings. Fire coming out from the white tower. MarineLorD has a smile on his face at the stage. In classic French fashion, he thinks, dumb Englishman. Nothing he can do now. White tower means he's not booming. It means he's locked into a very fast castle timing in terms of the window to be aggressive. If this drags out too long, MarineLorD can now just cruise through. And he knows it, but he's not going to wait around. He wants bang for buck out of these Rams. And look at the nest of bees. You can't get close enough. You can't counter the archers anymore. And he hasn't redirected fire onto the nest of bees, at least. The shot coming out. Reasonable damage. And it takes so long to kill it. Remember, the Clock Town nest of bees has 50% more health. Second volley won't come out in time. But the Lancers are going to chase you all the way to hell. And it's going to reveal your economy. Has to back off. Nest of bees isn't so deep, but he just doesn't care. He's looking for someone to shoot upon. It's with the 8 resistance, it just takes so long to kill. In the meantime, the Baron Ram's almost done with the Council Hall. He's chasing through the longbow line, and the Lancers are keeping vision and keeping harassment up. He can never turn around to fire because the archers would get in range. Nest of bees looking for the shot. They're going to get it out. Damage done, and most of the army just gone. Kasva's going to be wiped. And MarineLorD, I think he's done it. The landmark is down. The racks won't matter. He's going to call GG. MarineLorD looking to keep that record intact of being the first to finish each round. He will quickly dispatch Kasva to